Anyone who knows me knows that I am an enormous fan of One Piece. Now, I did not come here today to talk to you about a simple One Piece video. I wanted to go into the nitty gritty and do my own theory, know me about the Red Line. This is Laboon. If you know Laboon has been crashing his head into the Red Line ever since the early stages of One Piece, season 2, episode 62, 63, seriously, early One Piece has been trying to get to the other side of the Red Line on the side where Reverse Mountain is. Oda does this fantastic thing where he foreshadows by doing the opposing thing later on in One Piece. So yeah, later on we do see more of these whales, but they're freely traveling. Top of this pre-timestamp, bottom of this post-timestamp. Let's think about the first main story arc, all of East Blue. Fishmen are racist in the New World. The adjacent is the same story connection. Fishmen are slaves, so they're the opposite in that. Laboon was basically abandoned by his pirate crew as a baby, as a kid, when he was left with Old Man Crocus. I'm fairly sure Oda is foreshadowing the destruction of the Red Line, and I'll explain to you why I believe that. I think that this was foreshadowing the destruction of the Red Line because I think the Red Line is from the moon. So as you can see here, this is in the New World. This is showing where they see all of the other whales and they're like, Laboon? They think that this is Laboon, but it's clearly it's not. So they're freely traveling from the one half of the Grand Line into the other. This is immediately after Fishman Island. They are going through that tunnel underneath the Red Line, and that's where Fishman Island is. Fishman Island is 10,000 feet directly below sea level, directly below Mary Geoise. So I'll talk about Mary Geoise in a minute because the Holy Land is extremely important to supporting this idea. So in the Fishman Island arc, you meet Arlong's sister. Arlong's sister, she creates this prophecy that Luffy will, in fact, destroy Fishman Island. That he will destroy Fishman Island. It shows that he might actually end up being the one to destroy it, and he ends up trying to save it by destroying the Noah. But Shirahoshi having these Poseidon's abilities, where she can actually speak to the Sea Kings. The Sea Kings listened to her, and they all came and stopped the Noah from falling onto Fishman Island. Therefore, quote-unquote, proving Shirley's prophecy wrong. They basically claimed that, her prophecy was incorrect. But I think her prophecy is correct, because I think Luffy's going to destroy the Red Line above Fishman Island, and it's all going to fall and destroy Fishman Island. And then Noah's Ark will actually serve its purpose, and they will use Noah's Ark to evacuate Fishman Island. So let's start talking about Im and Lily, or Lilith. I'd say Lilith because it makes more sense, but Lily, whatever, I don't know. It's just brand new, manga chapter, fucking slapped, okay? This is literally brand new. So King Cobra from Alabasta had an assassination attempt on his life. And the five elders, the Gorosei, all were talking to him about the past, the history of Alabasta. How 20 generations have passed, and out of the 20 swords that were supposed to be stuck into the ground in front of the empty throne to symbolize that neither of the 20 nations owned the world, there was only 19 swords, and Lily never returned home to Alabasta. So in Alabasta's history, she just doesn't exist. Because of this, and because of this right here, there is a giant straw hat, for whatever fucking reason, that looks frozen inside of Mary Geoise. I don't know what this means. Why here in the Holy Land? Why has this big mystery been hidden here? Why is there a giant straw hat in the Holy Land? I'm pretty sure we're gonna fucking find out, and Luffy's going to end up going there. He's gonna have to end up going there. Little Garden, let's think about that. We are introduced to natural giants, and the opposite being Pond Hazard, we're introduced to artificial giants. Dressrosa is literally, it's the same thing. Introduced to a warlord, running a country in Alabasta. We're introduced to a warlord running a country. We're introduced to Luffy's brother. But there's adjacents. There's opposites. On one end, we have a brother that we knew was alive. Luffy knew was alive the whole time. And then we have a brother who he thought was dead. And then we have a warlord who is searching for an ancient weapon. And then we have a warlord who knows where it is in Marriage Wasp, because he does, Doflamingo does speak about the secrets of Marriage Wasp. He knows things. Not to mention Crocodile having black hair and probably not being a celestial dragon. And then Doflamingo having blonde hair and being a celestial dragon from the past. So there are a lot of differences. Alright, so moving on, let's talk about King, the Wildflower. We know that he's the last Lunarian. So this is Marco the Phoenix talking about the Lunarians. Like, what do you mean atop the red line of Marriage Wasp? More of Marco talking about the Lunarians. I've heard tales long ago about a race of people atop the red wall who could burst into flames. So this race, King's race, came down from the fucking moon and landed on the red line, and then Holy Land was taken over by the Celestial Dragons, and they committed genocide against Kane's race. So Kane is the last remaining Lunarian from the race of moon people. Fucking Jesus Christ. So I think it's safe to say that whatever motive Luffy might have to go to the Holy Land, I'm not sure. I'm thinking maybe it has something to do with Shanks potentially being one of the 9 Holy Knights. This is also brand new right here. They say then mobilize the Holy Knights. So in the center, right there, is a man who looks almost exactly like a silhouette of Shanks. Now, I don't know if this is a clone, like a seraphim of Shanks, but the seraphim are very real, so it very much could be. But it's got me thinking, who the fuck is Uda? Why does she have wings? Why is she Shanks' daughter? Is Shanks connected to Emu in any kind of way? Is Emu Uda's mother? Or like what the fuck is happening here? Like, so Shanks may be a Holy Knight, but I still personally believe that Shanks will start the next war, because Oda does, okay, let's say like this is One Piece related, but let's say that one side is pre-time skip and the other side is post-time skip. Let's talk about Skypiea. Let's talk about Zou. They're both mystical places that involve poneglyphs. Now, the villain of Skypiea was like a Skypian, pretty much. It was Enel, and the villain of Zou was just Jack. I mean, there's not too many similarities, but Skypiea becomes prevalent and important when you look at the 4 gods. Skypiea, the god of sun, who is obviously is sun god Nika. This is, again, like season 3 of One Piece, dude. Like, they've been foreshadowing this since episode 1 of One Piece. Romance Dawn. Dawn being the rise of the sun. Now, they also mention here God of Rain, God of Forest, and God of Earth. Like, this indicates that there's potentially three other gods in the show. Now, I don't know if God of Rain is going to end up being Monkey D. Dragon, or I don't know what the fuck is happening or who is what. Moving on from Skypiea, we have Enies, Water 7, Enies Lobby, and Whole Cake Island. These are like paradises. Like Water 7 is a fucking paradise. Whole Cake Island is a fucking paradise. Like, all races get along in Whole Cake, but we have Sanji and Robin both leave the crew, but for different reasons. Robin leaves because of her connection with her past in CP9, the world government. Sanji leaves for personal reasons because of his actual literal fucking family is a bunch of dickheads. You can also say that they had a fight. Like, Luffy fought Usopp and he won. Luffy fought Sanji and he lost. Yes, he did deliberately lose, but it still kind of counts. Now, the biggest connections are between Thriller Bark and Wano. Thriller Bark, Zoro gets the sword. Wano, Zoro returns the sword. Thriller Bark, Sanji is jealous because he doesn't have the invisibility powers that Absalom does. Then Sanji gets to be invisible with his Germa suit in Wano. In Thriller Bark, they end up fighting 2 warlords of the sea, and the way that they fight them is they literally all jump oars. They all jump oars. Like, everybody fights oars. It's not a bunch of 1v1s. It is, like, literally they are jumping the shit out of, like, everybody's fighting this one guy. And, well, after they beat Moria, Kuma shows up. So there's 2 warlords in this entire arc, and that's the same that goes for Wano. It's 2 emperors. Now the main difference is that the Straw Hats literally lose, and then the Straw Hats win in Wano. That's why, like, I'm not upset about knowing, like, oh, there's no states in Wano. It's like, we're supposed to know this. Like, we're supposed to. It's all a blending. It's a story that's being crafted. We know that there's not supposed to be too many states in Wano. We know that Kaido isn't supposed to be some amazingly character with a bunch of depth. We know that he's supposed to be defeated. Moving on to more similarities before people call me crazy and go, oh, you're just making weird connections. Look at Sabaody. We are introduced to Admiral Kizaru, who literally shits on everybody. He's overpowered, and he beats everybody up. Then the opposite of that is post Wano when Green Bull shows up. Green Bull shows up and loses to Momonosuke. He loses. So that's the opposite yet again. Now, after post Sabaody and then post Wano, we go to the same place. We go to Amazon Lily. Luffy shows up at Amazon Lily. The opposite is now Blackbeard shows up at Amazon Lily. And he kidnaps fucking Kobe, right? And so Egghead Island and Impel Down have similarities as well. So we're comparing these similarities, and that's why I'm saying, and I fully believe, that once we get to the adjacent of the Marineford War, the opposite of Shanks ending the war is going to be Shanks starts the war. And I think that just makes the most sense for how it's so easy to analyze his writing style over the last 20 years. Like, Oda clearly has a plan, and he's been rolling with the same plan for 20 years to show this divinity in his show that there is some kind of fate going on here, because, you know, fate, dreams, whatever, it's all been since the beginning of One Piece in the manga and everything. I fully believe that Luffy's going to have reasons to go to Mary Geoise, and it might involve Shanks being a holy knight or Seraphim, but there's going to be a war that starts because Dragon, Sabo, Shanks, probably Sword is going to be involved, so Garp and Kobe are probably all going to somehow end up persuading the Straw Hats. And Luffy, with his, you know, his freedom, he's the liberation guy, he's Joy Boy. They're going to somehow convince him to go fight in Mary Geoise for some reason, and maybe that Straw Hat that's in there might be some kind of power up, and he might get even stronger. So I'm thinking he's going to completely annihilate Mary Geoise. The Red Line will be destroyed. It'll fulfill the prophecy of Fishman Island. The Noah's Ark in Fishman Island will serve its purpose of rescuing people, because now Shirahoshi can talk to Sea Kings and actually get them to pull the fucking boat. So I think that they'll save all the fishermen, get them out of Fishman Island. Fishman Island will be destroyed. Otohime, her dream may come true, and you know, fishermen might become more accepted, slavery might go away. But thinking about the Red Line being destroyed, all the oceans will come together. I think that the Red Line is from the moon, and that the Earth used to just actually be the All Blue. It used to just be a water planet, like before the Red Line came down. So that's what I'm thinking, is that the All Blue will come true once the Red Line is destroyed and the prophecy is fulfilled. That's just the most sense making, because if you look at Fishman Island, what happened? The Red Line, the Fishman Island wasn't destroyed, even though it was prophesied. So at some point, we'll probably end up getting the adjacent, the opposite. We're always getting these these opposing themes, and it's very prevalent, like since season 1, you know. And it's kind of weird because I'm really hoping at some point, this is really stupid, but I'm really hoping at some point that Helmeppo ends up fighting his dad at San Morgan. So I hope that Atan Morgan like joined up with Blackbeard at some point, and then Sword is like literally there. Like Garp literally just one shot the island with his fist. But I hope that Helmeppo gets to fight his dad again after like training, and that would be really cool to me. Like I think that would be awesome. So yeah, I mean that was pretty much it.
Complete.